Stephen King is well known and greatly appreciated all around the world. He was born in Maine in 1947. His early childhood was marked by tragedy, as he was abandoned by his father and witnessed a friend's death. By dint of hard work, his mother was able to give her children a good education. Interested in the paranormal from a very early age, Stephen grew up reading his father's horror and fantasy books. He wrote his first story when he was only 7. In high school, he edited the school journal. He sold his first professional short story when still at university. He met his future wife working in the campus library, graduated in 1970, and after a year of odd jobs obtained a teaching post. After having his second son, Stephen faced hard times. Both financial and writing difficulties led him to alcohol and drug abuse. His addiction grew worse when he lost his mother in 1973. In 1974, thanks to his wife's support, he managed to publish his first novel, Carrie. The earnings from the book and its film adaptation allowed him to quit teaching and dedicate himself completely to writing. Continued success followed. Author of many bestsellers, he has always been a prolific writer and still writes today. More than 80 of his works were published and many were turned into movies. The Shining was first published in 1977. The story takes place at that time. Jack Torrance has lost his teaching job, and his friend Al helps him obtain the job of winter keeper of the Overlook, an impressive hotel built at the beginning of the century where he will have the opportunity to spend time with his family and write his book. During the job interview, he is told that the former keeper went mad and killed himself after acting up his wife and daughters. Despite this, Jack moves with his wife Wendy and his 5-year-old son Danny into the Overlook Hotel, which will turn out to having seen many bloody events. Before the staff leaves the hotel, Danny meets the cook, Dick, who, like Danny himself, possesses psychic abilities, the Shining. Dick tells Danny that he might see past events in the hotel, but he should not be afraid because they are not real, and adds that Danny can call him telepathically if he needs help. Soon, the Torrance family is isolated by the snow. Danny feels the evil presence in the hotel but resists it. Jack instead is overwhelmed by it and tries to harm his own family. Dick, called by Danny's psychic power, helps mother and son to run away while a fire destroys Jack, the Overlook, and the evil haunting presence. Stanley Kubrick turned King's novel into a movie also called Shining, released in 1980. Although the plot is not changed and the dialogues are accurately reported, the movie differs from the book. Some changes were trivial. For example, room 217 becomes room 237 because in the hotel where the movie was shot, a room 217 actually existed, and the owners were afraid they might scare away their customers. The movie is also set entirely in the hotel, restricting the broader canvas of the book. On the other hand, the terrifying scenes of Danny riding his tricycle in the hotel's halls, the seduction of Jack by the woman in room 237, the garden maze, were all added by Kubrick. The maze and all scenes contribute to the spectator's sense of claustrophobia, entrapment, and coercion. The mad former keeper's daughters are turned into twins of great visual impact, as is the sentence endlessly typed by Jack, bringing out his madness. To communicate through images, some changes are necessary, but some changes appear to be distortions, notably of the main characters. Danny, in the book A Gifted Child, appears limited. The movie Wendy is quite unlike to the novels. Jack, too, in the movie seems crazy from the very start. Their relationships, too, are altered. In the book, Jack and Wendy's relationship is strained. The movie starts them out as a happy couple. Kubrick's Jack is a murderer. He kills Dick, the cook, who in the novel is merely hurt and can help mother and son run away. The movie neglects Jack's alcoholic past, a past that binds him to Al and cost him his job. The reader sides with Jack, a vulnerable but nice man who had a difficult childhood and fights evil. In the novel As He Dreams, he breaks the radio to silence his father who is telling him to hurt Danny. On the screen, he destroys the radio so that his victims can't call for help. At the end of the book, the boiler explodes, enveloping everything in fire, and Jack burns trying to save his son. At the end of the movie, everything is swallowed up by snow, and Jack freezes to death after failing to slaughter his son. The novel is considered a milestone in Stephen King's transition from thriller fantasy to horror, and is deemed one of the best books about haunted houses. The novel develops an impossible story. but its main concern appears to be a very real problem, the fragility of the human soul. King narrates the human story through many intertwined topics: alcoholism, divorce, parent-child relationships, madness, anger, the psychic influence of parents, guilt, the supernatural, corruption, power, death, good intentions, control, fear, loneliness. The loneliness of the woman in room 217 who dies waiting for her lover. The loneliness of the man in the dog costume who for love's sake lets everyone make fun of him. Despite the style, the book is about love, how it challenges us, how it can make us invincible or destroy us, a subject totally missing in the movie. Danny's love for Jack, Jack's love for his father, Jack's love for his son. A love that is mixed with fear. Jack's fear of becoming like his father and hurting Danny like his father hurt him. The circle of life repeating itself like a trap one cannot escape, like alcohol addiction, like pain, like loneliness, like death. Love, however, also pushes a mother to overcome her fears to help her son, a humble cook, to cross a country risking his life to help others. The human soul is fragile but also strong. This combination is probably the secret of its beauty. A book that is sometimes dramatic but has a happy ending, and the message is that even if it has to go through hell, good always triumphs. I chose this book for many reasons. First, I hadn't read this novel yet, and this was a good chance to do it. Further, I had heard this was one of the rare cases in which the movie is better than the book, and they felt the need to verify that. Finally, Stephen King and Stanley Kubrick are both great artists, and I was fascinated by this confrontation. The truth is, they cannot be compared because their creations are completely different. I give King credit that his masterpiece inspired Kubrick to another masterpiece, albeit a distant one. I read the book in a couple of days and really appreciated it. Unlike the movie, it is heartwarming, deep, inward-looking, insightful. I delved into the story and got involved with the characters, getting to know them and recognizing them, since in each there is a part of us or of someone we have known. This involvement, this familiarity, didn't leave any room for fear. The movie is frightening. The book is not. The lack of depth, the coldness, the inexplicable, the unknown, caused terror. I watched the movie as an external spectator, passive and powerless witness of everything I saw and heard, not involved with the characters who remain strangers. Jack is totally crazy and could do anything. There is no explanation. Everything is unpredictable and therefore dangerous and frightening. I think Kubrick made a precise choice. If he had tried to remain faithful to the book, he would have failed to convey what only a book can, because an image necessarily limits our imagination. He would not have created the horror movie that is Shining. Personally, I wouldn't define the book as horror, whereas the movie surely is. Anyhow, having read the book, I can understand why King did not appreciate Kubrick's version. After all, Jack is an extremely autobiographical character, very human. Who would like to bare his soul only to be turned into a mad murderer with no feelings? Stanley Kubrick's version is without doubt a successful horror movie, but he turned the character into which the writer had put all of himself into a simple monster.